Something you don't need is expensive at any price. And with that, let's continue here with the daily Kaupenjoe, where I talk for 10 minutes without editing, and after 10 minutes, I just cut it off. Today, basically, I was thinking about talking about some, I guess, consumerism in a large sense, and then we'll probably also change the topic up after a little bit, because I don't know if I can talk for 10 minutes about consumerism, although there are some ideas that I had. So the idea here just came to me a couple of hours ago, and the quote from the beginning, something you don't need is expensive at any price. I heard that from Rory Sutherland. By the way, you should probably look at some YouTube videos or some podcasts of the guy. He is like a marketing genius type of person who basically is like when it comes to marketing, right? And obviously you could say, well, marketing can be used for good or bad. Fair enough. But if you have a good product, right, that you're like, listen, this can actually improve someone's life in whatever way, you have to market it, right? Marketing is like, I don't know, 70% of the product at the very least, because it's great if you have a life-changing product, but if no one knows about it, then it doesn't matter. Like you can have the best product in the world. If no one's talking about it, it doesn't make any difference in the world. And he's basically a marketing guy. And I find it really interesting because the idea that so for a couple of things that he, for example, says is like, well, when you have a train journey from, I don't know, Paris to London or whatever, and it takes 3.5 hours, the engineering solution would be, well, we're going to redo all the tracks. We're going to make it so that it's like high velocity rail, and we're going to cut that down by like 40 minutes, right? So now you only have 2 hours, 50 minutes. That would be a market improvement, but it's going to cost, I don't know, $890 million or something like that, right? And then obviously it's going to be more than that, so it's going to cost like 1.2 billion. And everyone's like, yep, that sounds about right. That is a good solution, right? You calculate, okay, 40 minutes per train journey, how many people take that journey, how much life is saved, let's say. But that's not really how a normal person engages with something like train travel. So he said, well, if you really wanted to make the journey better, you could spend, instead of 1.2 billion or something like that, you could spend like 100 million and have the best top supermodels walk down the middle of the train and give everyone free champagne, and you would spend only about 1/10, and people would say, slow the trains down, right? So I think it's an interesting conundrum. But because that's a solution, or in the space of solutions, in the solution space, that is not a quantifiable thing, right? The thing, the units of time, easily measurable, easily predictable. But something like that is messy. It is creative. It is something that is not quite easy to predict for an engineer, right? And that's might sometimes be a downside of having, let's say, the engineers at such a I wouldn't say necessarily prestigious position, but that's probably going to be the person or the people who are like, oh, you're the solution guy because you got your algorithms and all of that, especially if people don't quite know what the frick all of that means. But yeah, so that's one thing. And when I think about the idea, something you don't need is expensive at any price, I was thinking about this in terms of how much crap we sometimes buy. Now, I really think I'm almost good, right? I mean, there has been a couple of years, especially the first couple of years on Amazon. I've had my Amazon account since 2010. That is 15 years ago. That is crazy. But regardless, I know that there were a couple of years in between where I was just like, oh, let's just get something else, and then let's just get this, and let's get another book here and another thing here. Now, I will say, I don't think a book is ever a wasted purchase. I mean, it might be if you never read it, but overall, a book is rarely a wasted purchase. I do recommend those, though. For that, now I don't know if this exists on in other. I mean, it has 100% exists in other countries, but it's probably going to be a different name. In Germany, there is Rebuy. I cannot recommend this enough. Basically, it is used goods, but specifically books. I cannot tell you how good that is, because you can get, like, sometimes you can get a book for like 99 cents. Absolutely amazing. I have bought so many different books on Rebuy because it's just it was just incredible to me, because when you have a book, I mean, if it's used, okay, and when they say used, it's not like falling apart, right? It might, you see that it has been read. Wow, congratulations. It's really not that big of a deal. And I think that that's an awesome thing to do, to take those, well, used books, instead of them being dumped, you buy those. It's a good idea, because the words on the page, no matter how often they're being read, they will not disappear. Think about that, right? And when it comes to, let's say, frivolous spending or just buying crap that you don't need, I think that it's I have greatly reduced this since a couple of years ago. Now, I would say my main purchases on Amazon, which is, listen, okay, you can criticize me for it, but I don't mind. So basically, I like to drink both Coke Zero as well as Sprite Zero. By the way, Sprite Zero, unbelievable. I really love that. And I liked the 330 milliliter cans, but sometimes they don't have that in, or actually almost never in the grocery store. So the Cola Zero, they sometimes have that on in the grocery store, but then it's usually the thick cans instead of the long, tall ones. They're both 330 milliliters, but listen, okay, I'm very particular in that case, and I'm okay with that. And those I sometimes order. So those are basically the main two things I order. I would say, every month-ish or so, somewhere around there. So that's definitely an expense that I just have. I also like a Monster Energy Rehab Peach. Unbelievable. So while we're at, consumption in that case, there you go. But yeah, those are like my main things. And I got a couple of other things like collagen powder, because I usually drink that in the morning with my coffee, and then in the evening when I have my tea. It's just a great, number one, it's a great source for protein, absolutely amazing, and in the evening it helps you sleep a little bit because of one of the what is it called? Not polypeptides, no, that's something different. One of the different ingredients in so one of the protein sources, one of the protein, what is it called? Amino acids. There you go. I struggled there for a second, but yeah, one of the amino acids helps you sleep. I'm not sure which one it was. Glycine? I don't know. I'm not quite sure anymore. I would have to double check this. But there's one where if you have like a couple of, like 2 or 3 grams of it, something like that, then it's gonna help you sleep a little bit more. So that's usually also why I have that. And then apart from that, in terms of frivolous spending, the last thing I bought was a mini 4K projector. So like a smart projector. Was it useful? I mean, I was sick once, so I was able to use it there. Because I don't have a TV in my bedroom, because I don't need that. I just use my phone. Not really that much better, but yeah, I don't think that it's a good idea to have that anyway. I had that before, but I don't know. I don't really watch television anyway, and if I do, then it has to be a smart TV that has like YouTube connected to it or something like that. My source, or my drug of choice, let's say, quote unquote, in terms of social media is 100% the YouTube. Like there's no if, whens, or buts about it. It is absolutely insane how much YouTube I actually watch. It's maybe a little bit too much, to be honest with you. But I think there are worse things in this world. I don't know what the frick this yap was about, but I mean, this is sometimes how the yaps go, right? They just sort of meander around about a random topic, first starting out with like marketing stuff, and then just me telling you about what to buy. Any practical advice? Think about if you actually need something before you buy it, right? Like, is it going to be, like, how often are you going to use it? If you use it every single day, buy it almost immediately. If you use it once a month, but it makes your life easier, sure. Regardless, that's going to be it for today's yap. If you found this useful and interesting, and talk to you again tomorrow. Until then.